from the News Channel 5 network. This is OpenLine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to OpenLine. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday evening. I'm Carrie Sharp, glad to be sitting in for the next hour with you. And tonight we have a lighthearted, wonderful topic to discuss tonight, Nashville's Film Festival. In fact, it's in its 52nd year. Joining me tonight to tell me all about what's happened in the past and what is happening this year as well is Jason Padgitt, the Executive Director of the Nashville Film Festival. Jason, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
This festival kicks off on the 30th, so on Thursday, if I have my dates correct. No time at all, and you said you already feel like you're running that marathon right now.
Yes, we've been running that marathon all year, it feels like, but now we get to open our doors to the public. So we kick off the festival this Thursday, the 30th, and it runs through October 6th. So a 7-day festival. And we'll be, for the first time ever in the 52-year history of the festival, be hosting a mix of both in-person screenings and having films available online in a virtual catalog. So it's been a ton of work, but we're really excited and thrilled to be putting these films back out into the public to enjoy.
We were talking just before the show here, and last year everything was virtual because it had to be. And while that had some positives to it and it was something new to try, you told me everybody is excited to get back in front of that big screen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing about last year, if we all remember our own personal journey of 2020, when the news broke about the global pandemic in March, it was hard to predict what the situation was going to be in the summer, or much less October. I think most people thought, well, this will be gone, or it won't even hit Tennessee. A lot of people thought at the time. So we were in a unique position to have to plan kind of two festivals at once for more than half the year. So between March and July, we were sort of looking at all options and saying, what can we do to best serve the audience and be responsible. And what we ended up doing is having to make the call to go completely virtual. And in producing the virtual festival, turned out a great product, had a great audience, great films, but everybody missed the big screen, and everyone really wanted that back. And so as we entered 2021, we were in a similar position. How can we best produce this festival, knowing what we know today? And in following the federal and state and local guidance, we've managed what I think is a very balanced and responsible approach to in-person screenings, and at the same time making the catalog virtually available for everybody. So been a lot of work, but it's really exciting, and we're happy to be here this week.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the COVID protocols and all that, but first of all, just give me an overall glimpse of what this festival is going to look like and feel like.
Well, this festival is going to be great. I mean, it really is. The film programming team goes through thousands of films beginning in January, and they end up curating them into a hand-picked list of this year, which is 150 titles.
Wow.
Many of those are short films. They come in packages, usually around 8 to 10 minutes long. And then many of them are feature length. I think there's 75 feature length films in this year's lineup. So what the Nashville Film Festival really likes to focus on is a very diverse portfolio of film subjects matter, and in an ability to serve all audiences. So we really strive for things that are warm and friendly and funny, and things that are very dark and thoughtful, to be able to give everybody something to watch. At the core of the Nashville Film Festival, and something that's very important to me, is a big focus on music films and music documentaries, both narrative and documentary. So we opened this year's festival with a music documentary on Brian Wilson. It's called Brian Wilson, Journey, A Long Journey. And that film is fantastic. It's also co-produced with the editor of Rolling Stone magazine, who will be here for the screening. And then we go through the week with in-person screenings of music documentaries, and again online. So but there's really something for everyone. The full catalog is listed on our website, and I couldn't even begin to talk about all of them, but those are some of my favorites.
And there's even a special focus on Tennessee produced films, or at least about Tennessee.
Yes, that's another wonderful aspect of the Nashville Film Festival. We open several categories that are specifically eligible for Tennessee filmmakers, both student filmmakers and non-student filmmakers. And among the other in-person highlights of this week, we have on Sunday night screening at Rocketown a film called Old Henry, which stars Tim Blake Nelson, famous for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and many, many other films. And he's going to actually be attending the festival this year as a guest of honor and be a part of a Q&A. That film was totally made and produced in Tennessee, again, starring Tim Blake Nelson and Stephen Dorff, and even Trace Atkins has a meaningful role in the film.
Neat.
So that's a great Tennessee film.
Okay, so for the novices watching tonight who maybe have never been to a film festival and thought, oh, that only happens in faraway, fancy places, you mentioned the word catalog. You said a full listing is online. Where can people go to see this catalog of what's being shown? And can you just pick one or two that you want to go to, show up and get a ticket?
Yes, that's a great question. I'll start with where to go for information. NashvilleFilmFestival.org is the main hub for everything related to the festival. And within there, you can look at a full interactive schedule. You can, for in-person or online, you can look at a film guide, which gives you images, copy, and synopsis of every film. So it's really the place to start the journey to decide what you want to do. Beyond that, the other part of that question, which is really important, is, not many people intuitively know what a film festival is. People kind of can imagine what a music festival is. They know what that looks like. They know what that feels like. A film festival is a little different, and unless you've been to one, it's difficult for people to imagine. But it's really as simple as this. You can come to one movie for an hour and 20 minutes, or you can buy a pass and come to everything that we're showing for 7 days in a row. And people do both. So what we find is there are many people that like to come to maybe one film a day. Others like to really begin their day and end their night with us at the festival. We, during that 7-day period, are running films generally from about 10:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night.
Wow.
So so there's a lot of flexibility in terms of timing, and of course, the late night films in a couple of cases this year are from our graveyard shift program, which are more intense kind of horror thriller films, and there's some great ones in this year's offering as well. But yeah, just to answer your question succinctly, anyone can buy a single ticket and come to one film, or multiple tickets and come to as many as they like. And we encourage folks that haven't been to a film festival to just try something early in the festival, and I guarantee you'll want to come back for more.
Yeah, and even beyond the films, there is much to do and see and listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. One other aspect of the Nashville Film Festival, which is unique, and because we have such a love and emphasis on music, and because we have such a wonderful music community, we have several instances this year where we'll have live music performances either before or after films. So that's a great part of the experience. The other part of the in-person festival experience, which really is underappreciated but is definitely worth experiencing, is when you're able to see a film for the first time with a group of people that have also never seen a film. And in our case, these films are not on Netflix. They're not out there in the theaters. These are all brand new independent films that have not been seen here before. And many of them have never been seen anywhere. So to get a new and fresh audience to, for the first time, see something of a subject matter that's of their mutual interest, what I love about film festivals is watching people's reactions after the films and talking about those films. And that's also not something that you get in the normal course of just a mainstream movie theater. Most people go with their families and friends, and then they leave with their families and friends. You don't get this communal effect of being able to talk about each person's own reaction to that film. And that serves multiple aspects. One is it gives the Nashville film fan community a greater bond and insight with each other, and people make friends and get to learn more about each other and their taste in films. But it also serves as a feedback loop for the independent filmmakers that are also here in attendance, both Tennessee filmmakers and filmmakers from all over the world. have the benefit of having a live audience to experience their film for the first time, and they love getting the feedback, which also includes some live Q&As that we do at the end of these screenings. So if you come to an in-person screening, in most cases you're going to get the option of a Q&A with the director of that film.
Yeah, that is completely unique than going to a big theater and just seeing it with your spouse or partner or friends and then heading right out. To be able to sit down with the director and say, this was the inspiration, and probe them a little bit is pretty cool. We're going to take a quick break. I want to remind you, this is Open Line. If you have questions about the Nashville Film Festival, tonight is your night to call. 615-737+ is the number. We're coming right back.